In Hebrews 6, the author continues off of Hebrews chapter 5, in which he was writing about that there were many infants, spiritually immature people, and the author is pointing out that there's a peril in not progressing. And so, addressing the consumers, and he then goes on to discuss that there is a danger to slipping away from salvation in a very disputed section of Scripture. And moving on to verse 9, he says, "But beloved, we are confident of better things concerning you. Yes, things that accompany salvation, though we speak in this manner. For God is not unjust to forget your work and labor of love, which you have shown toward his name, and that you have ministered to the saints, and do minister. And we desire that each one of you show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope until the end, that you do not become sluggish, but imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises." And so, in Galatians 6:9, one of my favorite verses, Paul writes, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." And there's this quote in the military that complacency kills. And the idea is that when you let your guard down, that when you slow down, that's when the enemy attacks. And that's the number one killer, is complacency. And in the same way in spiritual warfare, the dangers of not progressing can be that we are actually regressing back into a state of unbelief. Some people believe that we can lose our salvation. Some people will argue that maybe we were never saved. But regardless, there is a danger to not progressing towards Jesus. So we are either on a path towards Jesus or a path away. And the place I get that is when Jesus says no man can serve two masters, right? And so you're either serving Jesus or you're not. So to the spirit or so to the flesh. Let us continue doing good. Let us not become complacent, but continue crucifying our flesh, which would mean imitating Jesus and suffering not only, persecution, but also just suffering in our body by doing what's right, even when it's hard. So, let us continue on.